Hello all, and welcome to today's comparison review, in which I will be reviewing and more comparing than reviewing two different scotches. That is, of course, Johnnie Walker Black Label and Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve, which is different from the older Gold Label 18-year. So there's no age statement on this. I've heard it's around 12 years old, which is about the same as the Walker Black. This is much more expensive, probably because of the components of it. So I already have the Johnnie Walker Black poured out here, and I am going to pour out the Gold Reserve. So how are you doing? Is that about the same amount? Just a hair more. Okay. Well, so the color is remarkably similar. I'm going to try it with the regular light here. I would say that the Gold Label Reserve is maybe a shade lighter than the Black Label, but not overly. It might just be me. It might just be me. It might just be me. Let's try it against white paper here. Again, kind of inconclusive. So, thickness. Gold Label Reserve seems to be slightly thicker. It's got a little bit more resiliency there. Now, nosing. Okay, wow. In my previous review, I had the Black Label versus the 18-year one, and I ended up saying that the 18-year is almost like a stronger, more concentrated, version of Black, whereas this Gold Label Reserve has quite a different profile than the Black Label. So the smoke is more apparent in this one. Not that it's big smoke, but it's apparent in the nose here. Much more stone fruit. Hints of flowers. And this one is much more buttery. Round, much more honeyed. Almost, if I was going to say flowers, like honeysuckle. It smells sweeter than the Black. By far, sweeter and creamier and rounder than the Black. Okay, let's go to tasting. And, you know, kind of repeating it, myself here, Johnnie Walker Black Label is blended scotch, in which you kind of get all the nice, you know, get a very well-rounded scotch. You get, you know, malts up front and a smoky finish, nothing too intense in either. Good coating and mouthfeel. Nothing really stands out precisely, but it's all just very well balanced and very enjoyable. You know, there's nothing that's really lacking in it. It's got a bit of character, but nothing pointing out, nothing really extreme. Now for the Gold Label Reserve. This is much smoother. Almost no initial bite. And this is the same ABV. But this is this is almost like Irish whiskey and how little bite there is to it. Not much dimensionality up front, just this sort of very almost creamy mouthfeel, I would say, but not too much taste dimension. Until that creaminess is joined by sweetness towards the mids. Creaminess kind of intensifies, and I would say creaminess more of a butteriness, especially as it gets drier towards the finish. Much less smokiness and peatiness than the black has, and much more of a oaken character, a charred character in the finish. It's very different. Again, nothing really stands out about it, other than the fact that the mouthfeel is a little bit thin. It doesn't coat the mouth as intensely as the black does. And it doesn't have as strong or as lasting a finish. Gold is definitely sweeter in the front, but drier in the finish. This one has a certain level of sweetness that's continuous throughout as an underlying note. Black does, that is. Whereas the sweetness of the gold is more apparent in the front and kind of recedes in the finish. What's interesting is that the nose for the gold is much bigger than the taste in the mouth. You know, it kind of, it's about equal to the black, if in very, intensity, if in very different directions, but is much more muted in on the palate. So what can I say about this? Well, considering the price points of what the gold label is, in which it's almost as expensive as the 18-year, go with the 18-year. The 18-year is more of an all-around better Scotch. You know, you're basically getting, with the 18-year, you're getting basically Johnnie Walker Black kind of intensified. You know, the flavors are bigger, but they're all bigger in the same direction. This one, you're kind of getting something that's like the opposite, where it's kind of, contracted and smoother. And when you think about it in terms of like, well, if I'm going to get something that's $85 a bottle, for 750 milliliter, I want something that's got a bit of flavor oomph to it, not something that's easy drinking. I want something that, even if I'm not really looking for something, to wow me, I want it to have presence. This doesn't really have presence. It's kind of gold label's kind of sip and forget, that it seems like, There's not much that's memorable about it compared to the black. So, that's the end of the Johnnie Walker Christmas gift box set that I got. Allowed me to go and sample a couple of whiskeys that I would not go and ever get by myself, because I don't buy $100 bottles very often, and when I do, it's for things that have that hold more interest to me than blended Scotch whiskey. So I thank my grandfather for gifting me this for Christmas. And of them, I learned that Johnnie Walker 18-year is pretty good, and it's well worth trying if you can find like a little tiny hotel bottle size of it. And maybe one of these days I'll try blue. Who knows? The legendary blue, the best blended Scotch out there. Coming up next is probably going to be a review for a single malt. But, I'm planning on enjoying this, and, for what I said about Gold Label, I mean, it's still enjoyable. It's just not $85 a bottle enjoyable. This is something like I would definitely go and peg at maybe between $30 and $40 worth of enjoyment. So not much more enjoyable than the Black Label is. But again, very different directions that the taste went, very different profiles and everything. And you might find the Gold more to your taste. If you find Scotch a little bit too smoky, too peaty, too rough to handle, this is definitely smoother. So, that is your Scotch whiskey review. Sorry, my desk has changed, so I got to be really careful about how I put this down. I don't want these Glencairn glasses to fall off. So that is your Scotch review for today, and I'm not sure what the Scottish toast is. Okay, that's all for tonight, folks. Cheers, and I'll see you when I see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.